Hey everybody, this is Joe over at Synergy 17, and today I'm going to do the second part of how to recreate or trace a logo. Um, in this example, I'm going to do this Viper logo here. As you can see, this is just a JPEG, so I'll be tracing this. In the first tutorial, I mentioned that I kind of analyze and look at a logo and decide how I'm going to attack it. For example, on this one, I see the Viper. I would usually go to a website, the font or something, and look for this font. I did a quick search. I couldn't find this exact one, so I'm just going to trace it manually. Another thing that I noticed is that this corner and this corner are symmetrical. The eyes are symmetrical, the teeth are symmetrical, so I can basically make one piece and then flip it over to make the other one. So that'll speed up some things. Um, Another thing I like to use is I have this tool. It's a macro for lining things up. So let me show you how it works. Let's see. So, for example, sometimes when I'm drawing a line from here to here or something, I might have a few nodes that aren't straight. So what you can do is I've assigned some shortcut keys for the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. So in this quick example, I have Alt T for top, Alt B for bottom, Alt L for left, and Alt R for right. So if I do an Alt R, it looks for the furthest node to the right, which is this one, and it'll line up all the nodes together. So if I did an Alt L, it sees this one as being the leftmost. If I click it, it lines them all this way. So it's a good way for doing alignment, and it works for the top and bottom in case this was rotated. So for example, if I took this here, rotated this 90 degrees just so you can see, and then if I did the same thing where I highlight all the nodes and do Alt T, it finds the top, and same thing, Alt B finds the bottom. And where I found this macro is right here. I just searched for Corel, some Nodal Line, and it's this first one right here under unleash.com. If you click on this, it shows you, and he's got a lot of free macros, but I mean, you can play around with all kinds of different things. But down here, under shapes and layers, I found it right here, Nodal Line Direct. And that's the one I'm using. So anyways, I installed that and it creates shortcuts. So anyways, I'll get straight to this now. So what I want to do, and so a lot of people do this differently. I'm not really great at using the Bezier curve, so I'm going to use just a simple pin, or I'll actually use the polyline one. Actually, no, I'll just use the pin just to show you. So I'll start with this here. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on these points. And continue to do this. Try to do this as fast as I can for these letters since the letters are pretty boring. And like I said, nothing's perfect right now because I'll straighten everything up later. When I get to points like this where it starts to curve, I like to come over here to where the curve starts. I like to come over here to where it ends. And if it was perfectly round, I'll show you what I'll do with that. So I'm just placing points everywhere. Just left clicking on my mouse to draw a point. Some of these I could have just used a square, which would probably maybe even quicker. I just took a rectangle and traced this. Maybe this last one. So this is kind of boring here, but this is, I can do it pretty quickly. Okay, I'll do those in a bit. So let's go to some of these curves here. So some of these are rounded ones. So same thing, click, just going to draw this. This has a little curve here, so I'll take this, click here. I think that's supposed to be a nice sharp angle, so I'm going to click inside there. And let's do this tooth right here. And let's do this part here. Start with this tip. Since there's a curve right here, I'm going to click here and make the curve stop there. Same thing, same point here. This will all make sense in a bit. Same thing, there's a slight curve here. I'm just going to go straight across, straight down. Oops, I think I did two of this. If I not, I can always remove the node. Let's see what no, there's only one there. Okay. And like I said, I only did one side. I won't do this side because I'm just going to mirror that one. And let's do this one. Here's some curves that are kind of complicated. So I'm just going to take the point here, go straight across here, here, jump across. There's a slight curve right here. This I'll need to, let's see, maybe I can do it this way. Like I said, I can always go back and put nodes there if we have to, so no big deal. Another thing I could have done is, I could have took half the snake and just half a face and then flipped it over and then welded it together. But like I said, we'll fix all this stuff here. Okay. So I noticed on this one I did the point here and this one I did the point here. So I can easily take this and move it here and fix all this stuff. So what I want to do now is I want to take all of these and highlight them. This is just for this section here. But if I were to, well, actually we can go section by section. Let's say I want to do all of them. Combine those. That way I can highlight them all at once here. And what I want to do is I want to right click and I'm going to convert them all to curves. The reason I want to do this is because now if I click on here, on this node right here, whoops, with my shape tool, since it's a curve I can bend it. So if you see this, I can make some nice little bends right here. And like I said, if this bend isn't good, I could go back here, put a node here, and then whoops, I can curve this a little bit better. So depends on how sharp I want these. If I want these to be straight lines, this I want rounded. So I'll click on this one and I can bend this. The tooth right here, I can bend that. And usually I wouldn't jump around like this. I would just work on the one that I need to work on. But I'll go ahead and finish this here. Move this around. Make that curve here. And some of these will straighten out in a bit too. Just going to bend some of these. Curve some of these. So like for example, if I want these two the same, I can use that Alt-T and it'll line those up. That's fine here. We'll take this one. Oops. curve that. This has a slight curve in it. Curve that just a tad. Same thing with this guy. So that's all I'm really doing, is kind of going around and grabbing these points and curving them to make them fit. So this one has a bigger gap there, so I'm going to add another node right here. Make it a cusp. See if we can bend that. Move these nodes around. Let's go around this one here. It's a slight curve in it. This one has a big curve. It's a slight curve. So same thing right here. I take these two nodes, do the Alt-T, get those straightened out. Take these ones, T, these two, Alt-T. There's a little section here. Let's go down to this one here. I'm going to try to put these up there. I can bend this curve more. This one should be over here. Looking at everything here. This one looks like I should have more of a rounded section, so I can keep this here, add another node here, and then this node I could delete, move this over here, and then let's see if that's, make sure that's a cusp. Bring this out more, round that out. I said same thing over here. Whatever I do this side, I want this side because I want it to be the same. So we'll delete that guy. Okay. Like I said, anything that you feel like should be straight, like if you, this part should be straight. I think I did that one, but you know, use that little tool. For example, on these guys, I can come straight across here. The Alt-T, straighten out. Those are all straight. Same thing with the bottoms here. And you can go all the way across if you want. B, I'll take the top too. T. Let's see. Oh. Same thing here. To the left. Right. And here's that curve. I gotta make this curve. Make this curve. kind of boring, but this is how I would do it. Here's another round section. And if you get something like this and you don't want it to be so rough, you can highlight it and you can try smoothing it. And what that does is that'll smooth this part, but it kind of won't do that. So you can try different things. You can try to do it to a line. Oops, I don't want to do that to a line. Let's see. Oops. I'm going to take these two guys. Make sure they can. So it depends on this curve, because this curve's not really smooth. So like I said, you could always bring this back in. But you have to change this back to a cusp again, because I changed it to a line. So it just depends on how this curve is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a sharp turn, or a sharp curve, or a slow curve. So let's see, let's take this guy here. So now, let's just see what we have so far. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So I still have to do the tooth and the eyes. So I'm going to go back to this tool here, which is still my pen tool. Click here where the curve is, down here, back to the eye, and I'll just mirror that over. So change those two, oops. Highlight those all. Change those to curves. Then I'll bend this one here. This is fine. Fix this curve right there. And then I'm going to duplicate that one and flip it over to put over on this eye. And then I'll shift that one and I'll make sure they're aligned. Same thing with this one. I'm going to break this apart. Take this one, duplicate it, flip it around, move it over here, hold shift and click this one and align them. Take the tooth, Control D, duplicate, flip it around, move it right here, hold shift and align that one. And now if I want, I really don't need to move this aside, and I think I have it pretty much. Oops. I'll have to knock those eyes out though. Let's combine that. There we go. So that's the way I would do it if I were to trace this. And you can always go back and fix lines. Like if this thickness isn't the same, you can check that out. Other than that, it comes out pretty smooth. I'm not sure how long it took me, maybe 15 minutes. if that. So anyways, learn to play with the nodes, learn what they do, and as you do this, you'll get quicker and quicker, and you can trace things yourself. And the great thing about this, I mean, using the auto trace is cool, but sometimes it won't come out very smooth. Let's just go ahead and give it a try and see how well the Corel does it. Under bitmap here. Let's just do a high quality image. So let's just leave it as is. So if I look at the wireframe, you know, there's a lot of this, these jaggies everywhere. So lots of cleanup, a lot of little kinks in there. So I'm not even sure how many nodes this would have, but it's a lot of cleanup. And then if you look at this one here, you have very little nodes to clean up. Like I said, if you notice that the lines aren't straight, you can still go in there and fix these guys up. So anyways, that's how I would do it. Hope that helps.